welcome to another episode of World of Tanks and Gainy Titan. And we're on Erlenberg. I'm in the US T-34, the premium heavy US tank. And I'm training up more skills on Buck Peters for use with the T-25AT. And then I saw Erlenberg on the map and I thought, okay, we're in trouble. There are tier 9 tanks on the board, which is going to be a problem. But also, I'm in the sort of easternmost location. And in my opinion, there are two ways to win Erlenberg. One way for our team to win would be to push very strongly across the northern edge of the map, and then attack south into the hills. It would have to be fairly aggressive attack, and it would have to take the majority of our tanks. I don't know, about 9 or 10 tanks out of the whole 15. The rest of the team would go south to the castle and defend the castle. Pushing on past the castle is usually a way to lose the game, because the defenders on the ridge line to the east will generally have an advantage, and there won't be enough strength in the force going east after the battle of the castle to actually carry the day or carry the open terrain before you get to the ridge line, before you can flank the ridge line. This scenario very rarely occurs, I would add. The other more common scenario, but still rare enough, is that the force going south wins the battle of the castle. The northern force remains defensive around the cap circle, with the bulk of the force being west of the cap circle. And then when the southern force wins around the castle, they return back up north and defeat the enemy attacking the cap circle. At that point, they can cross the river wherever they like, because the bulk of the enemy team is dead. But the reality is usually you get some mixture of all three things going on. Some will go east, some will go south. If the people going south run into opposition and win, they will continue going south, and then they'll go east across the river and get annihilated crossing the river, because they don't have the force necessary to push across the open ground at the southern end of the map. Now, my tank would probably be better suited fighting down in the castle, but I thought that I'm also a very slow tank. Certainly in comparison with a lot of the other heavy tanks in this tier, and since I was on the easternmost tank to spawn, I wouldn't make it down to the castle in time to actually have any decisive role in any battle that would take place down there, especially considering the size of the forces going down there. So I thought I'd fight defensively here, but withdraw as soon as the enemy started to push out from beyond the hilltop in any kind of force. Basically, the optimal move for the hilltop to force for the red force is to essentially cross over the ridge line there at B9 or B0 and get into the ground on the other side and start flanking our positions, so that we're not getting the benefit of cover for the buildings. And at that point, it's too late to withdraw usually. You're kind of stuck here because the bridge is now under fire, as is the ford at the other side of it. So as far as I'm concerned, what I'm doing here is fighting a delaying action. I don't actually fancy the team's chances of winning at all, because there was no opposition on the... nobody went over, none of the red team went over to the castle, so they're going to be crossing the river against a large portion of the red team, and they're not going to succeed. They've spotted a tank, they've spotted a couple of tanks already in a fairly advanced position down south, and these guys are going to be spotting it for people further back. So the tanks they see, there's probably another 2 or 3 tanks they don't see, and they're also not pushing, they don't have the numerical advantage, and they're not pushing hard enough to carry the field, so to speak. So the prospects are just generally not good for them. And we're also losing this side of the map, so because these guys are trapped, they're beginning to pull back, but they need to be pulling back further. They need to be not hanging around here, essentially, because this is not a viable position, or will not be a viable position very shortly. You know, there's one guy over there that's stuck at the back of the river, already engaged in close quarters with a red tank, and they should probably just leave him as the rear guard, and everybody else just cross the bridge and get over to this side of the map where they have a chance at least to get back into cover. So I'm probably too far back to see the guys in the ridgeline anymore. but I want to get back into cover here. I don't want to be caught on the open ground. I don't have the armour to be taken on tier 9s, and certainly not in the open ground, but there is a KV-4 out there in the open, and I know that he won't see me. I should outview range a KV-4 quite easily. KV-4s are relatively blind tanks, but got the shot off, tracked him, and I can get into cover while I'm reloading, so I can come up here to the ridgeline, peek out over it, and now I can take my time taking another shot at the KV-4. So we get a good penetrating hit, and he is, well, he's stuck out in the open and he's not going to survive. There's multiple tanks shooting at him, but the thing is, we're down a lot of tanks. We're outnumbered in terms of states of 2 tanks up on us, and that's a huge advantage in this state of the game. The offensive across the southern side of the map has come to its inevitable halt, and the 3 tanks that are now down there, the tank destroyer, which I think is the Jagdtiger, it's a very slow tank destroyer. Certainly the Jagdtiger and the one with it, there's a tank with it as well, should be pulling back towards the castle, because while they can support the guy at the bridge, they're relatively isolated down there, and there is artillery in play, and they have no protection from artillery down there in that location, and it's an ideal spot for artillery to be shooting at them because it's a relatively uncomplicated shot. Now, I probably stayed here. I probably should have gone to the centre at this stage, in hindsight, because there are enough of us back here to delay the guys crossing the river. But the guy in the middle, that tank there just north of the castle, is on his own, facing possibly multiple enemies on the other side of the river. Now, if the other side of the river, they're safe enough, but once they cross the river, he's in trouble. He could be in trouble very, very rapidly. We're still 2 tanks down, but I have managed to get my fire for effect at this point. I've done more damage than I have hit points. Like I said, I don't expect us to win. I didn't even in the plague expect us to win this particular battle. It was just didn't strike me as likely. The enemy are being cautious, but they're being much more effective. They're more effective in their fire, and they're more effective generally than our guys. There's still 2 tanks up, and I'm getting more and more concerned about the centre there. So we managed to put a shot on that T10 who came out sideways on, but he's now providing cover for the guys behind him. There's a defender with an angle mutant. I won't put a shot to the front of him, not easily. The AMX, yes, I can put a shot through him if I can hit him. Now the tank that was down by the road is actually put back to the middle, which leaves the other 2 tanks down the south even more isolated, and it should be more important that they should start pulling back. It looks like the heavy tank is starting to do it. Whether he'll make it back, I don't know. We've caught up a tank, but the enemy have crossed the bridge. There's the VK4502 crossing the bridge. There's the AMX 30 behind him, and he was in front of me moments ago. I was lining a gun sights at him from directly in front of me not too long ago, and I'm not going to get a clear shot from here. And I think at this point I decided I'm actually going to relocate. We're 2 tanks down again. Looks like we've lost. Yes, we've lost both of the tanks that withdrew. The guy in the middle is gone. The guy with the tank destroyer is gone, and the tank destroyer is now facing a medium tank at close quarters, supported by other tanks. So he's in serious trouble. He's probably going to die very shortly. So I'm starting to relocate, although I'm probably leaving it a bit late. I should probably have done it a bit earlier. And I don't know if it would have made much of a difference, but I might have been able to get shots off, give cover to the guy that was in the open, that had been previously down by the bridge or something like that, so that he might have survived a bit longer. I don't know, because I don't know exactly what the tactical situation was for those people when I was still up there, but I'm coming now. And can I get a shot of the Conqueror? Yes, I have a clear shot of the Conqueror, but I completely messed it up, and that was a bad mistake on my part. I should have wasn't really under anyone's attention. Yeah, I was spotted, but the thing is, it would have taken time for people to swing their turrets around. I could have taken the half a second or so necessary to just aim in. The tank that was defending the castle looks like he's been annihilated by artillery or something. I'm not sure he could have been easily shot at by anything else from that location. And now, well, now we're 4 tanks down because we started losing tanks in quick proximity. Now there is a tank coming to my assistance, but we are in pretty serious trouble at this point because the enemy outnumbers fairly strongly, and there's probably still enemies over at the bridge near the cap circle. They're coming into the middle of the map. I don't want to stick my nose out there because I reckon I'd be showing the side of my turret the M103 or the Conqueror. So I reckon these guys weren't quite expecting me, so I was fairly confident I got the shot off. I only got a tracking shot in the VK4501. Now, this guy comes over the top a little bit too much and takes damage, and I make a couple of mistakes at this point that I won't say they cost us the game, but they certainly cost me probably another 2 or 3 shots to last. This isn't it. Now this is I think that was a perfectly reasonable thing to do, and it leaves him a 1-shot kill, although the Conqueror doesn't quite manage it. The AMX is still coming over the top here, but taking the risks. And Conqueror's taking a bit of a pounding. So the AMX 5100 comes around this side, and I put a round into him. And this is where I make a huge mistake, because I got the reload in, and initially I was thinking of finishing off the AMX, but I didn't think I'd be able to hit him. I wasn't sure if I could make the shot, but I think I should have made sure and made the shot on the even risk getting hit to get the shot into the AMX 5100 and taking that gun out of the game, because it really was, every gun you take out of the game at this stage would have been a critical advantage. As it turns out, I put the shot into the VK4502 and somebody else shot him as well. I think he's a 1-shot kill, but the AMX 5100 kills me. Now if I'd killed the AMX 5100, the VK would probably be still within 400 points more health, but the thing is, I'd probably have gotten that round into him, and I might have had the opportunity to finish him off. And with the AMX 5100, the Conqueror might have survived a bit longer. We're only facing half the enemy team, but if the Conqueror had lasted a round or two longer and got another round or two off, I might have gotten another round or two off as well. I don't think it would have made a difference to the game, but it's still, there were mistakes that I made, and they were unforced mistakes. I should do better and should have known better, and hopefully I'll do better the next time. It's not often I get to hang around long enough with a T-34 US to get 10 penetration shots, but I did this time and I got 4k damage. Came number 1 by experience, but I think the advantage of being able to see and just see the way the game was going to go and actually retreat in time was what kept me alive in the game for that length of time. I think situational awareness is one of the key aspects of this game, but it just takes a lot of practice and time to learn it. I also noticed the enemy Conqueror did over 4k damage and 6 kills, and the enemy Conway did 4k damage, and I don't think he was seen throughout the whole game, at least I didn't see him. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and a share. Please subscribe if you've not already done so. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.